All right, call the meeting to order. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Trustee Narodowski.
Present.
Trustee Keenley.
Present.
Trustee May.
Present.
Trustee Perns.
Present.
Supervisor Bussey.
Present. Okay, is there any public comment? If not, the consent agenda, I have the authorization for payroll and bills for the town fund, the general assistance fund, and the road and road and bridge and the sewer funds. I would ask for I'm going to go do these separately. I ask for a motion to approve the payroll and bills.
So moved. Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? If not, roll call.
Trustee Narodowski.
Aye.
Trustee Keenley.
Aye.
Trustee May.
Aye.
Trustee Perns.
Aye.
Supervisor Bussey.
Aye. Supervisor's report, we have the social services, the employment center, food pantry, youth services, adult and family counseling, transportation, and financial and passport reports. Do I have a motion to approve? You should have been able to look through them. They all were sent to you. You have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion, any questions on there? You did note that the food pantry is now over 1,100 or so is where we are now too. So it just keeps growing, and that is, we're seeing the same with all the different departments, but the food pantry in particular is going crazy. We are fortunate to have a very good chain of support in terms of supply, so we're in good shape there. But all of these areas continue to see growing demand and growing need. Okay, so we've had a moved and seconded, and there's no discussion. A roll call.
Trustee Narodowski.
Aye.
Trustee Keenley.
Aye.
Trustee May.
Aye.
Trustee Perns.
Aye.
Supervisor Bussey.
Aye. On the approval of the minutes for July 22nd, 2024, the regular meeting, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion, any corrections, or any other issues with the minutes? If not, roll call.
Trustee Narodowski.
Aye.
Trustee Keenley.
Aye.
Trustee May.
Aye.
Trustee Perns.
Aye.
Supervisor Bussey.
Aye. Okay, we're now gonna, I've asked the new employees to be present here this evening to introduce themselves to the board. We've had a number of promotions, and we've had a number of new hires as we've expanded our staff due to that growing need that we've had here in a variety of areas. And we've had one or two departures, and we've replaced them. So I just wanted, we have four new employees here. I'd like them to just stand up briefly when I call their name and just introduce themselves, and then say a few words, and probably won't be asked to give a speech or anything like that, but just introduce yourself, say a little about yourself, what you're doing, and maybe your background a little bit would be great. So Jeanette Huerta is a counselor, a part-time counselor with our adult family counseling services. I've had great feedback right off the bat from our team there, and she's been so far it looks like a great addition, and we're really happy to have her on board. Jeanette?
Hi everyone, my name is Jeanette Huerta. I am a product of this township. I grew up here. I went to Byrd, Friendship, and Elk Grove High School, and I'm just happy to be giving back to this community. That means so much to me. So yeah, I am a part-time bilingual therapist here. I work 3 evenings a night, and during the day I work at Elk Grove High School as a social worker. So I am very, 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 very grateful for this township and what it has done for my life and what I get to do now. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think it's in all these cases, in particular like in adult and family counseling, if you remember that we were running into issues, we had backlogs with Kenneth Young of referrals. So we took on more and more responsibility of ourselves in terms of the counseling as well as the psychiatric services and the likes. And we were beginning to develop a backlog as well too, or a waiting list. And so our ability to add additional people like Jeanette is very key to our ability to be timely in terms of the services that we provide from a counseling point of view. As all the areas, this is another area that continues to grow. I think not only because of the need, but also because I think our services are becoming more and more well-known. And they're doing a great job, and I'm really glad to have Jeanette on board. Thank you very much. Jen Han is Youth Services Program Coordinator. She's working with Renee and helping build, and well, her big thing right now, she's helping build and plan for the grand opening of the bike safety and the challenge course. So.
Hi, I'm Jen Han. I am the Youth Services Program Coordinator and Bicycle Safety Coordinator, so I've been heavily involved in creating all of those houses and everything that's going to take place at the grand opening, so I'm excited to see everyone there. I have a background in social emotional learning at Chicago Public Schools, and I also have a background in child advocacy with Ronald McDonald Charities. So I'm just excited to be here, and I think that my background speaks to all the services that Renee and I want to continue to build on and put into the community. So I'm looking forward to being here and getting to know everybody else in the community.
Great, thank you very much. I have to say that when I first met her, I went back and she was painting the houses for the bike safety program. So her job description is very, very wide, obviously. But no, it's once again, Izzy is saying that you're off to a great start. We're really happy. We have nothing but great employees here, so, you know. That's right. So, all right, Rose Rigona. Rose is our transportation coordinator, and she schedules the senior bus rides and coordinates communication between the residents and the drivers. And Rose?
Hi, everyone. My name is Rose Rigona, and I work in the transportation department. I come from a background of transportation, except it was air transportation for over 30 years. So this is slightly different, but I really enjoy being able to help the seniors and everything that the township stands for. It was an enlightenment to me. Until I started working here, I had no idea what the townships do. So thank you for letting me be a part of that.
Now you're deep in the middle of it, right? Yeah, Rose said that she wanted us to add not buses, but private jets, too. So we're going to be, it's sort of tough keeping them within the township, though.
Check the
But no, Rose, thank you very much. Off to a great start here, and we're going to be supporting with some additional things, as you know, going forward here. Okay, Evelina. Evelina's been with us for some time, but she's the administrative assistant, and she's been taking care of passports and resident services, and actually is going to be moving more into a resident services side. Going to be more of the focus as we have reached a point with licenses and passports where it really requires a lot more attention than we've been able to give. Evelina?
Yes, thank you. Good evening. My name is Evelina Radzek, and I'm the administrative assistant right now, and I'm helping this community to grow within the passport services. As many people go still to post office, they don't know that we are offering that service a lot. So every month we're having more and more people to come in and recognize this place to be the place to go. We also do handicap. I also work for the department for residents, covering some transportation. We also do resident services, where we give them a handicap placard temporary. That's one of help. They don't have to go to Secretary of State. They can come right to us for that service. Yep. So we're growing. So that's the best thing.
Evelyn has really taken the passports and the licenses placard. She's really taken that and run with it. And like I said, that the usage of us for passports and for, well, particularly passports, but for fishing licenses and placards, once again is growing too. And to be honest with you, it's actually a little bit of a moneymaker for us too, because we're required to charge for the passports. But she's done a fantastic job, and the amount we're doing continues to grow and grow and grow. But with her doing it, we don't have to worry about it. It just gets done. So, thanks, Evelina.
Thank you.
So ladies, thank you very much. You don't have to stay for the meeting. It gets pretty boring as it goes along here. So, but I really, once again, I really want to say that how much I appreciate all of you and what you're already doing and what you're already providing to the township. As you know, the township, our focus is increasingly social services oriented. Road and bridge at one time, and we do have, obviously, a very key part is the tax advocacy is kind of what we have here now, but tax advocacy and social services are the two areas that are our primary functions, not road and bridge anymore. And the demand for these services, because taxes keep going up and more and more people need to appeal, but also on the social services side, changing demographics, inflationary issues, economic issues, all of those are driving a much higher demand and usage of the township services, which are all free. And I think that as we get more well-known and as people become aware of what we provide, I think that our value to the community continues to grow. We've been there, but people have not really known who we were. As Rose said, they haven't known what we did. Unless you really had to use our services, you weren't aware of it. But as we have as our services have become more important to the community, and as we've made more of an effort to let people know what we're doing, I think that the township has really grown in terms of its value and its presence in the community, and you all are going to be part of that and play a major role. Our job is basically to serve the community and serve them in ways that they aren't served in other places. I mean, what you're doing and what Connie's team does is not something which is available all over the place. This is rather unique to what townships do. And so what you're doing is not only unique, but extraordinarily important. So thank you very much for joining us and being part of the team. And we look forward to working with you going forward. And Paul and Izzy said that they'd be nice, they'd be nice bosses, they'd be really good. Right? Okay, good. All right, good. All right, thank you very much. You guys can take off. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to presentations. We're in presentations. We just had the new employees. I also point out we have a new VSO officer too for the Veteran Service Office. Walter has been transferred back up to the North Shore, and Brian, I forget Brian's last name, he is joining us now, is joining the team here and will be the new VSO officer. And I'll ask for him to come attend one of our meetings too to introduce himself. He's a really, really good guy. Unfortunately, he's not Navy, he's Army, I think, but we make allowances, right?
That's
Yeah,
right.
so,
Yep.
So anyway, I'm really glad to have him up. From what I've met, and I've talked to him, he seems to be a really good guy and seems to really fit in with our real focus on service and interaction with the rest of the team here. So if he's got an issue with one of the veterans that comes in that makes sense to refer them over to one of our other departments, one of our other areas, they're very good at working together at doing that. I think that's really important. Okay, I think at this point, if we can have we have the Lauterbach and Ammon annual Elk Grove Township audit presentation. So if you'd like to kind of give the presentation and introduce yourself, that'd be great.
First, does anyone have the audit packet with them? Perfect. I got an extra copy, so.
Thanks.
All right, everyone. I'm Edwin Rivera, and I'm an audit manager with the audit team with Lauterbach and Ammon, and I'm here to walk you through the 3 pieces of required communication we published for the fiscal year end March 31st, 2024. But first, I'd like to thank the board for allowing me to speak here today. I'd like to thank Paul, Erica, and those involved with the audit process. The audit process does require a lot of time and effort taken away from staff's normal day-to-day job tasks and functions. So we're very appreciative of all the time and effort put towards the audit process. As we know, the audit process is pretty rigorous. Now, the first piece of required communication I'd like to go over is the SAS 114 letter, which is this document right here. I'll keep this brief. The purpose of this letter is to convey if there's any disagreements or difficulties encountered from management. I'm happy to report there were no such disagreements or difficulties encountered. You can find much more detailed information on that throughout the body of this letter. Now, the next piece of required communication I'd like to go over is the annual financial report, which is what we're all here for, or the AFR for short. So this is all of the financial information provided from management compiled throughout the audit process, put into this nice bounded report right here. I'd like to direct everyone to page 1. And on page 1, you'll find the independent auditor's report. The purpose of the independent auditor's report is to convey two things. One is that it's management's responsibility for the presentation and fair presentation and preparation of financial statements. And two, the auditor's responsibility for issuing an opinion on said financial statements. I'm happy to report that we've issued an unmodified opinion, which is the cleanest and highest level of assurance we can issue. Now, the next page I'd like to direct everyone to is to page 9. So we're going to go past the few.
Speak up a little bit louder when you talk. Could we turn that up a little bit too?
So on the next page, I'd like to direct everyone to page 9. We're going to go past a few financial statements, and here you'll find the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. You can think of this as the income statement. Here you'll see the three of the 4 funds for the township displayed, which is the general town fund, the general assistance fund, and road and bridge fund. So as we follow this page along, you see that we have all the revenues, or all the ins for the year at the top, followed by all the expenditures and outs for the year. And towards the bottom is the most important part, where you'll see a small reconciliation where you see net change in fund balances. And towards the bottom, you'll see the ending fund balance for the year. And most notably for the general fund, you'll see a positive fund balance of $2,132,775. Now I'd like to direct everyone to page 12. Here you'll find a similar statement, but for the proprietary fund or the sewer fund for the township, but labeled as statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in net position. So it follows the same format. As we go from top to bottom, you see all the revenues for the year, followed by all the expenses, and towards the bottom, you'll see the reconciliation for change in net position. And for the sewer fund, we see we have a positive net position for the year of $985,316. Now, the next section I'd like to briefly go over is the notes to the financial statement, which start on page 14 and end on page 30. I always like to briefly mention this to everyone, as this provides much more detailed information, all the balances you find throughout the AFR. So if anyone's looking for a nice read at night before bed, I definitely recommend everyone to go to this section. It has a lot of riveting, great information. Now, the last piece of required communication I'd like to go over is the management letter, which is the other staple document. Looks just like this. Now, the purpose of the management letter is to provide recommendations to management for best practices, for improvements to internal controls, and to notify management of any future GASB pronouncements they need to be made aware of. So the management letter is divided into 2 sections, the first being current recommendations and prior recommendations. But as you can see, all there are for the year are current recommendations, as this is the first year audit with Lauterbach and Amon with the Township. So the first few management letters you will find are related to best practices we always issue to all our first-year clients. Just, hey, here you go. This is a few policies we recommend the township to implement. And the last 2 management letters you will find are related to GASB pronouncements, which I know we all love GASBs nowadays. So for these 2 GASBs, at the end of the comment section for each, you'll find the fiscal year for which they pertain to when they need to be implemented. But don't worry, once this time comes around, fieldwork staff will assist the staff to implement and evaluate these GASBs. And we do have technical principals or partners at the firm who will evaluate and go through all the implementation guidance and all the information that'll be issued for these GASBs.
Now, let me just mention too that Erica is on, I think, online. If a question needs to be asked of Erica, she can be asked. She can be asked if
Yes,
if you want.
I'm here.
Okay. All right. Hopefully, nobody will have to ask you anything.
And with that, does anyone have any questions?
No.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
And I will point out on the current recommendations that they put forward here, that we are going to move forward with a policy on the outstanding check balance policy. Obviously, here, these are checks that are not cashed, or that are outstanding, and we should have a policy on that, and we will be establishing one. After 3 years, I believe it has to be submitted to the state.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, you all should check in the treasurer's office periodically. I just found $1,000 that I didn't know that I had, so, anyway. But, so we will develop, that's a very simple process, when we put together a policy on that. In terms of the capital asset policy, are we talking here, I said I had no questions, but I actually do.
Yeah.
We're talking about primary capital assets, so are we talking about the replaceable I mean, as we're establishing a capital reserve fund or capital reserve replacement fund for replacing air conditioning, roofing, buses, based on a schedule, a replacement schedule, and basing on estimates what it's going to cost over that period of time. What you're proposing is that not only that a fund to be established for this purposes, but there be a policy associated with that?
Yeah, specifically for the threshold for which to incorporate these as capital assets. So that way it becomes clear for staff as the audit comes due each year, what should be put as a capital asset on the books for the township. So it just help provides more guidance and fundamentals towards that process.
We did not have a capital capital replacement fund, if you don't put that before. If you remember last year, we just started funding, and it's a general one, but eventually it should be broken out by the various primary capital assets for replacement purposes, where we build the funds over, we think it's going to be 10 years for the air conditioning and we feel it's going to cost this much in 10 years, that we reserve funds to be able to do that. Now, whether it, I mean, you're guesstimating what you're doing, but you're building that. So we will continue that, and I guess we'll develop a policy around that provides a process associated with that as well, too. The other one is the fund balance. Okay, and when we talk about, is this a policy saying that, for instance, in our GA fund, we don't want at the end of the year balance to be less than a certain amount, or what I'm not sure exactly what the fund balance policy is.
That is correct. So we do have templates that I can notify the manager on you guys to send over, but that's technically what it is. It helps provide minimum requirements and maximum requirements for the different fund balances in a position for the township.
So it's not that it's a hard, fast number, but it's a policy saying that this is what we're working to do, and if we fall under it or whatever the case be, then it has to come before the board for exception purpose, or depending on how we write the policy, I assume.
Yeah, certainly, and there's always ways to go about that for such as transfers and such, but.
All right, that's fine. Okay. By the way, we do have levels that minimum levels we try to maintain the other funds at, but this would be putting it in writing, I guess, is what we would be doing. Okay, does anybody have any more questions at all? Okay, thank you very much. Very thorough.
Thank you all so
audit.
much.
We appreciate the work.
Have a good night, everyone.
You too. Good night.
All right. All right, so the next step, and the next issue in the next item for presentations is the bid opening for the proposed purchase of the used bus for senior disabled transportation. Remember, we put a bid out that was due today for purchasing a used bus that meets certain standards. And we've got, the clerk will open the bid. We only received one bid.
Okay. One. Okay. Oh, this is a lot of,
Usually it'll be around.
well, I'm just trying to find out where
Usually.
the actual bid is, where they,
Yeah, it should be right up, I think. Hold on a second. Maybe he gave us a blank one.
what?
I said maybe he turned in a blank one.
Yeah. Okay. Oops.
Let me see here.
Okay, the bid is from August 20th, 2024, from Best Bus Sales and Displays, and the bid is $39,500.
How much? 30?
$39,500.
Okay. And this, we've received one bid. It was from
Best Bus Sales.
Best Sales for $39,550, or $39,500. Okay. We will address this then again under new business. So that's the only bill received, and that's the amount that was put forward in the response. Okay, we'll move to reports. Do we have the assessor's report?
You have my written report. As of today, we are open for appeals with the Board of Review. We will continue to accept appeals for the Board of Review until September 24th. We will have an outreach with Commissioner Samantha Steele September 5th from 6 to 8. She'll be bringing analysts with her where appeals can be made directly into their system. We'll have another outreach on September 19th with Commissioner Cardenas. Now, they have a different approach to the situation in that they still use paper, but it's still an excellent opportunity for our residents to come and ask questions. If they don't want to submit, a paper file, then they can, of course, come and see us prior to closing on the 24th. As of tomorrow, Annette White, Deputy Assessor, will be leaving us and joining Schaumburg Township. They've gone through retirements and the death of one of their chief deputies, and it is her township, and so we're happy to wish her well in her new employment. Moreover, we are delighted to welcome Dulce Viveros, who has 14 years of experience in the assessment office at Palatine Township. So she is also bilingual, which will be another asset to us, but it's just so far been very pleasing to have her on board and as a member of our team. One of the things that concerns me is as we have gone to communicate with our taxpayers, the costs on dial my calls and constant contact are absolutely spiraling out of control. So we are looking for other options to be able to communicate with our taxpayers in a more cost-effective manner. Also, I'd like to commend Board of Review Commissioner Samantha Steele. Since we never know when we're going to be open for appeals, we can be left in a quandary very often, and one of those is that both Deputy Wagner and myself will be away for continuing education for 5 days. So from that standpoint, Commissioner Steele is sending 2 of her analysts on the Monday and the Friday, which tend to be our busiest days. So I want to thank her for that. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
When we talk about differences in processing between Steele and Cardenas, yeah, what are we talking about here? And what is this? What issues does that create if they're processed differently? Because you have to be approved.
You have to have 2 out of 3
2 of the 3,
commissioners,
yeah,
people to sign off on an appeal. Commissioner Steele and her staff developed a computer program. To me, it's rather reminiscent of our assessment information management system that her analysts use. And as you may or may not know, with our system, if you put in a PIN number for a residence, it will show you the properties. It'll be similar classification, neighborhood, etc. Excuse me. It will show you which ones are higher assessed per square foot and which ones are lower, and therefore they can see very easily, where this particular property sets in. The other 2 commissioners do not use this program and do not like this program for various reasons. I have not heard what their specific objections to it would be, but my assumption is that once it passes, we are a split district. Commissioner Steele and Commissioner Cardenas splits down the middle. So if we're going to get 2, we have to, depending upon whose district they're in, if Commissioner Steele has designated, yes, you're ready for an appeal, then you're still going to have, one more to sign off. So there is animosity at the Board of Review presently, none of which we have any control over whatsoever. Basically, when Commissioner Cardenas comes out for an outreach program, they have the residents fill out a paper form and they take the paper form back. I am always there saying, if you don't want to do the paper form, come into the office, we'll do the research and we'll file it for you. But I would be remiss if I gave more opportunity to Commissioner Steele than to Commissioner Cardenas, and it would not be in the best interests of our taxpayers. So they both come, they both have their own way of doing things, and we're ready to help our taxpayers any way we can.
Now, if we're split, does that mean that those residents in one part go through Steele and the other part goes
That's
through?
correct. I believe Wheeling is also a split district.
So when you have this meeting, it's the ones in the area that Steele's in will come to her?
No, our residents really don't
Right.
understand the split district, nor should they. I mean, the Cook County property tax system is obscure at best, so to add this particular layer of confusion, no, we just send out an invitation saying Board of Review, is being conducted this time by, Commissioner Steele or Commissioner Cardenas.
So if they come in and it's someone from Commissioner Steele's district, but it's the other,
They will still take the,
but they'll have to, one group, when they're, will have to fill something out, the other group, when they're here, won't fill something
Excuse me.
out?
bottom line is it's still the district, and for example, if it's filed with Commissioner Steele, Commissioner Cardenas's people have to sign off on it, or the other commissioners, so Rogers. So you've still got to have 2 out of 3 votes to get it through. So
It's gotta be done-
it
it's
should
being
not
done two
matter
ways.
one way or the other. All 3 commissioners should be looking at all of the appeals.
Okay.
Yes.
Is the way that the process done, is that disadvantage for people in any way, or is it there, other than inconvenience, is there anything in terms of one process tends to result in these type of results, while the other?
No, I would not have access to the data on the success or failure of a particular appeal. Excuse me. But from that standpoint, they all have the same mandate and take the same oath of office that they're going to look at this in an objective way. How they look at it, as you know, there are many routes to determining value. And in this situation, most of the time, it's going to be per square foot in the neighborhood, that is closest to the applicant.
Okay. Don't fully understand it still, but okay.
Very few people do. Or want
I
to.
just don't understand how the Board of Appeals for a county can have 2 different systems for.
You've got 3 different separately elected officials.
Still, their job is the same. and
That's
they're-
correct,
they're-
but again, it's approach. How do you approach it? Commissioner Steele has got a depth of knowledge and has brought in some very talented people in IT. Why they disagree, again, would be held very closely between the 3 of them. I'm not in a position to talk about that because I have no direct knowledge.
Okay. All right, good. Well, I mean, so I saw your initial email went out to the township residents concerning the appeal period, and your invitations for this, well, I assume will follow shortly, right?
Yes, we just got the artwork from Commissioner Steele's office twice today, so if it got put up on the website, it needs to be put down and the corrected one put up.
How are they, is it email and is it?
We do
mailing
our
well?
email, which is in excess of over 8,000.
Right,
And we also do the dial my calls, the robocall, and that's gotten extremely expensive also. And we do over 800 personal calls.
okay. And then it's on our website, and I suppose it's
On the
in paper.
website,
Yeah.
the invitations will be on the website. We do as much as we possibly can to get the word out. Inevitably, the 25th of September, someone will come in and say, when can I appeal?
Yeah.
And we have to say, we closed yesterday. So we do the best we can. Also, the Board of Review sends out emails, and they also have it in the newspaper. So we've covered about as much ground as we possibly can.
Okay. All right, any questions for the assessor? Not? Okay, clerk?
I have a written report. We have one FOIA request from last month, and we are underway with our preparations for the Elk Grove Village Hometown Parade on the 21st of September. And we are starting to get ready to send out our agency grant application packets. So we're reviewing the application right now before we send those out, and those will be due November 1st.
Okay, any questions for the clerk? If not, supervisor's report. First of all, construction with Integral is completed. We still have work on the bike safety course still to do in terms of the houses are being painted and installed, and the signals and signage is still being installed, but it will be all ready to go in time for the grand opening. There is still some work too on the gate, the east lot gate, which we will be fixing so they can be opened and closed. And we're not sure what we're going to do out here on the west gate. It may be enough just to do the east gate so people aren't zooming through. But we're not sure if we need to put up on both sides. But we do have the one that we're going to fix and have it operational and closed in the evenings, open during the day on the west side. Also, storage, they're continuing to work in the large storage space. The shelving should arrive shortly. In that room will be the medical closet, and then all the food will be stored. We have significant number of storage racks going in, and some of the other smaller rooms are being used for food storage as well, too. As we grow, in terms of demand on the food pantry, the need for organized and clean storage becomes more and more important, and so I think we're ahead of the game there in that regard. We have a lot of room to expand in if we need to. It's also interesting, too, we're getting more and more companies are aware of us, corporations and businesses are aware of us, and we're getting calls on a on a regular basis for a variety of things that we wouldn't have thought of before. We got multiple pallets for Spider-Man and Star Wars toys. So we said, sure, and we'll use them and associate with our Christmas drives and maybe in connection with some of the other townships. But as the word is becoming known that we are providing food as well as other items for members of the community, we've gotten an increasing number of inquiries and offers to support, which has been great. There is one other area we'll be beginning shortly, is I've talked to Evelina Resident Services with passports and with placards, driving handicap placards and licenses, fishing and hunting licenses and the likes. That front conference room, I think I mentioned before, when will that begin? When will the work construction? Yeah.
It's happening September.
Okay. We'll be opening, that room will turn into a resident services space with a desk and chairs, and Evelina will be working that site there because of the influx we've had in terms of demand there requires additional space for doing that. That small conference room in the front lobby there, will be able to be used by us for smaller meetings and so forth, and otherwise we'll need to use the conference room back here. But the demand there has grown, and we needed to adjust accordingly. Okay, and one other thing, and we'll be getting to some of this as we go into new business, but because we'll be approving the use of GA funds as per the legislation that was passed that allows us to use excess GA funds, general assistance funds, for related purposes. We have identified, and we'll be addressing some of these in new business, using some of the funds for a new bus, for a cargo van for food pantry, and for some maintenance purposes, and then software for the transportation, real-time software, real-time management software for the buses. We have significantly more resources than we need, and using the funds for these purposes won't put a dent in that reserve. We'll put very little dent in that reserve. And these are all one-time items. They're not ongoing commitments that will require ongoing costs. Coming up to on the 14th, remind you that we have shredding in the morning with the Mount Prospect Lions Club at the Rexplex from 9 to 12, I think it is. And then at shortly there, 12 from 10 to 12 to 2 or 3, 2:30 will be the grand opening here of the bike safety and challenge course, and we'll also be opening up the youth services room and everything. I would, especially for that grand opening, I would strongly encourage a presence at that event. We really want to make sure that we present this development, this development of the bike safety and its senior walking course and the challenge course, the youth services, that we present that in a very positive way to the community, and I think our presence would be very helpful in that regard. We also have, Sue Ellen mentioned the Elk Grove Parade. We have flu shots coming up in October 4th and on November 11th, I believe it is. I think 11th or 21st. I don't know, one of the two. Yeah. Okay.
11th is Monday.
And then we have in connection with Veterans Day, we have the Veterans Honor Roll this year. We're asking VFW American Legions to nominate members to be recognized, and they'll be in the newsletter and then recognized at one of our meetings, the November meeting, for their service. We have the holiday drives that will be kicking off here. The angel tree at Christmas for the seniors, the Christmas gifts, where we give parents gift cards to be able to buy gifts for their kids. It's kind of a win-win where the parents get to buy the gifts for their kids and the kids get gifts. And then the Thanksgiving, where we provide a complete meal. We raise money to provide a complete meal at Thanksgiving for all those families using the food pantry. So the Thanksgiving meal program, the kids gift program, and the angel tree. And then along with it, we have the cereal bowl. That's Rolling Meadows and Elk Grove High School. And we'll also be hosting our Government Day with the seniors at Elk Grove High School, where we go through what township government is and what we do and how it operates. I think that's about it in general. I'm feeling very good because a lot of the major projects we've been working on over the last 3 years have sort of come to fruition, and we're getting to a point now where we're just tweaking a few things, and I'm feeling very positive about where we are in terms of our facilities, in terms of our programs, and in terms of our staff. I would also mention the other staff members that weren't here tonight that were new was Romero Reyes, who is our maintenance manager. He's on his honeymoon right now. I said he should come in, but he refused to come in, so I don't know. But he's been doing a fantastic job. Has taken on a lot of responsibilities that we were hiring outside contractors to do. Karina is from the front admin and the front desk. Jackie Salazar is a program specialist in social services. She is replacing Jackie. Yeah. I'm sorry? Yeah, Michelle at the front desk, yes. And then Priya is their counselor, who's full-time counselor, has been doing off to a great start. And then as Connie mentioned, Dulcie will be joining us too. So some of these are replacements, some of these are promotions, but we've had a really, I think, we're at a point now where the staff is very well in place. And there's only one or two other tweaks I think we need, and then we'll be in very good shape for the programs we need, for the infrastructure we need, and for the people we need to execute these programs. Okay, is there any other questions for me? Nope, okay. Can I have a motion to approve the elected officials' reports?
So moved. Second.
Okay, roll call.
Trustee Narodowski.
Aye.
Trustee Keenley.
Aye.
Trustee May.
Aye.
Trustee Perns.
Aye.
Supervisor Bussie.
Aye. We have no old business, but one question on the Busey Bank accounts. Do we need to approve the final transfer of the operational account? Okay, well, then I'll just announce it then. Yeah. Yeah, at previous meetings, we had the presentation from Busey Bank, and I said if there was any issues, you contact me. I heard I had nothing. I met with them again for breakfast to talk through their proposal, and I'm comfortable with it. It appears you guys had no questions or issues. I didn't know if we needed to approve it again, but I think we're fine. So at this point, we have moved all of our, we'll be in the process of moving our last account over with Busey Bank. The sewer will be there, the food pantry will be there, and the our primary operational account. And in net, I think we're going to have much better communication and interaction with them. I think we're going to get more support from them in some of the special events and so forth we do. And also, we will be we'll be getting a higher return on our funds as well too, substantially higher in the terms of the way they've been willing to structure it. So I mean, we're talking about in multiples more return on the money that they're holding. So I feel good about the relationship. I feel good about their interaction with us, and I feel good about the financial component will be advantageous to us and the taxpayer. Okay, so that's been done. All right, so there's no old business. On new business, first of all, the review and approval of the IGA between Elk Grove Township and Mount Prospect School District 57. We do not have a IGA with District 59. We have a verbal agreement with them, and they're okay with that. We're okay with that. They explained to you what that relationship is now, which is focused on the working with new arrivals in our area. This is a much broader, we'll have a much broader relationship with 57 in terms of services that, in terms of programs that Youth Services provides. But you've seen the IGA that was approved by our attorney as well as approved by them now. And so I need to have a motion to approve the IGA, and a second.
So moved. Second.
Okay, is there any discussion on this now? Basically, what they wanted to do is they wanted to establish a formal relationship with us in terms of the usage of our personnel for programs in their school. And one of the aspects is that they will be doing background checks on, and they will carry they'll carry the cost for background checks of anyone that we're using in the school for these programs. That is one component of it that was of interest. The other items are just housekeeping, that they want to make it clear between us and them as to who's doing what or what our different responsibilities are. Like I said, 59 did not find that necessary. Is there any other questions on this IGA? It will go in, if it's approved, this will go into effect for next semester, or what?
They need to go through 2 board meetings. They discuss it at one, and then they vote on it on the next. So it would go into effect in October.
October.
If it's approved here, it'll go to that, and it'll go into effect.
Okay, and then probably the programs we provide would start the next semester?
We probably will go right away.
Right away? Okay, all right. Okay, if there's no other questions, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call.
Trustee Narodowski.
Aye.
Trustee Keenley.
Aye.
Trustee May.
Aye.
Trustee Perns.
Aye.
Supervisor Bussie.
Aye. I think it's interesting, too, that the needs of 59 and the needs of 57 are different. 59 needed something very specific, and when we went in and provided our broader services, they, after the first year, sort of refocused back on where they really needed it, which was in the area I mentioned, and new arrivals, new people coming into the area, particularly from immigrants and so forth. While 57, on the other hand, was much more open to the broader programs that we provide in terms of whether it's female empowerment or bullying, or whatever the case may be. So it was interesting, the difference in terms of what they need and don't need, what they like to do themselves and what they like to have us do, and also in terms of how they, the structure that IGA or not an IGA, it's you would think there'd be sort of like with the Board of Review. You would think there'd be some that they'd be very similar, but no, there's different approaches and so forth. So we have one relationship with 57, and we have a different relationship with 59. Let's go on then to the acceptance of the Lauterbach and Amen annual Elk Grove Township audit. Need a motion to approve approve the audit and second it.
So moved.
To accept the audit.
Accept it, I'm sorry, accept, not approve it, accept the audit, and then to, a motion to approve and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Was there any questions from that? I mean, there were the three items that we will take action on was one,
Can't understand.
capital asset policy, where we're establishing capital reserve funds, or replacement funds, and we'll have to have a policy associated with that. The outstanding check write-off policy, that's pretty straightforward, simple. I don't think that's going to be a big issue. And then the third one is the fund balance policy, which seems pretty straightforward to me, but that's something I'm going to talk to them about in terms of how they're interpreting it versus how I'm interpreting it. We will be addressing all three of those. The other two items on here, JSB statement number 100 and the GSAB statement number 100 accounting changes and so forth, are really more administrative issues where we're working with them and they're working with our financial department, and we're working with them to stay aware and stay current on changes and corrections. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept the audit report for fiscal year 2024. Roll call.
Trustee Narodowski.
Aye.
Trustee Keenley.
Aye.
Trustee May.
Aye.
Trustee Perns.
Aye.
Supervisor Bussie.
Aye. Right now, I need tentative approval of the pending the attorney's review. It's always pending the attorney's review of the bid that was submitted for the purchase of the used senior and disabled bus. You guys, the bid was for $39,500. Obviously, the attorney will review this to make sure it meets all the required elements of the bid that we put forth. And we'll make sure that it's written in a way that is appropriate. But if it does meet everything that we requested, and if it is written in the proper format, then what I would need to do is have a motion to approve the bid pending the attorney's review.
So moved.
Second.
Okay? Any further discussion? Not? Roll call?
Trustee Narodowski.
Aye.
Trustee Keenley.
Aye.
Trustee May.
Aye.
Trustee Perns.
Aye.
Supervisor Bussie.
Aye. Could you, Izzy, could you just mention too, bringing this bus on, what is that going to mean for our bus fleet? How does this, where do we stand at that point?
So we will go from 3 buses to 4. It will help us prepare for the addition of an additional bus driver. Kevin will be retiring, so we need that. And this specific bus, we were looking for a bus that can accommodate multiple wheelchairs at the same time. We faced that. We do have bus 24, which is a larger all of the seats. I believe what we were requiring is that a big portion of seats would fold or accommodate a wheelchair.
Okay.
So that was really the addition that we needed. We have two smaller buses which are very good. They're easy to maneuver. We use them every single day. They're fantastic, but when we go on larger trips, shopping trips particularly, we need more accessibility for wheelchairs.
All right. Okay. Now go on to the number 4, which is the approval and purchase of an eco-lane scheduling and routing software for the senior disabled transportation. This is the software that we've discussed that would allow us to manage our buses on a real-time basis. It would allow adjustments to be made in the bus schedules based on somebody not showing up or somebody running late or whatever the case may be. This would allow us to more effectively and efficiently manage the buses and the bus routes. Right now, it's all being done manually. Rose would be managing this software and working with the software. I think it's going to make things much more seamless, much more effective, much more efficient, and much more effective for that matter. Do you have anything? Do you guys have anything you want to add on that? No. Okay. Yeah. Why don't you? Yeah.
Okay, so EcoLane is a software, it's a web-based software system that helps dispatch and route all of our trips. So they would come in and ask us a lot of questions, kind of what our buses are like, what our trip requirements are, and develop the system based on what our needs are and what the community needs are. So if we allow, let's say, a trip on the other side of Central, which is kind of our border, it wouldn't cut us off. It would allow us to take those people there. So that is one big thing that we were really nervous about, transferring from a human hand, scheduling these things and kind of taking all those things into consideration, and then moving over to a software system that kind of is a little bit more strict with its parameters. This allows us to kind of build that software. So that's one hoop that we were very happy to jump through. Another thing is we have Ellen right now who does all of the routing, and if she's unavailable, we have another bus driver that is capable of doing that. His name is Paul. If they are unavailable, it would have to be someone at the front desk, such as myself or Rose, and we are not always capable of making sure that that sheet is ready for the next day or looks as good as it needs to look. So it kind of takes away that responsibility from a individual routing those sheets and those schedules to a software doing it. So we would only have to input the information. It would make us a lot more effective. It would help with time, and it allows us to run reports. If I wanted to see who was calling off, let's say they're scheduling rides, 6 rides, 7 rides, 8 rides a month, and not showing up for 75% of those, well, what do we do about that, right? Right now, we have to sit there and physically go through the sheets and check out who those people are. So it helps with that. It also is very simple for the bus drivers to use. So instead of coming in the morning and having to decipher their sheets and figuring out where they're going throughout the day, they would get into the bus, start their iPad, and it would route their day. So it takes away the stress of trying to figure out, is there a traffic stop? Is there additional traffic? I'm going to be late. What happens if my tire explodes and I've got to take the bus out of rotation? Right now, we have to do that on an emergency basis. With the software, we can say that that bus is coming out of rotation, and it would route the rest of that particular bus route to the other two. So, we're headed in that direction. The more busy we grow, the more needs we have. If we add a 4th bus, it would be much more difficult to take one reservation sheet and turn it into 4 separate bus routes. The software is capable of doing that. Same thing like George said with, real-time appointments. If we have someone who calls in and says, hey, I forgot to call yesterday, but I really need to come to the food pantry. Right now, we have to figure out how to make that happen. This will be much easier. We will put in that information and it will route it for us and find the best spot for that particular resident to get here. So I'm very excited. I think Rose is very excited. She comes from a
a background that has a lot of digital equipment, and I think she's very much capable of working the software herself. It will be a transition, but I believe that everybody's kind of looking forward to it. Okay, I think you've seen the quote, but it does come with an annual reoccurring charge, right around $3,400 for year 2 to 5. That is very reasonable considering they are available for any calls that we have. They will be here on site during our transition, so they will actually come in and stay anywhere from 3 to 5 days. When we go live, they will be here to answer those questions and make sure that we can work this out. So our transition is smooth. We will go live one day, from one day to the next, and they will be here to kind of walk us through that. So any kind of software updates, any issues that we may face down the road, they will be able to answer some of those questions and make sure that our software is working properly for us. I know Paul and I believe Ellen once went over to a different township and kind of watched this happen in real time, and we were very impressed with it. Any township we've asked, they say that they are very happy with the software, so. Okay.
Does anybody have
Any questions?
for Izzy?
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Thank
that,
you.
once again, I think we've just reached the point where a manual system where they call into the front desk, and then they write down what it is and the time, and then we have to, Ellen's got to come in and take that list and create a route, and then somebody changes, somebody can't be at that time, or there's some of them, or they're out there and the appointment goes long, or whatever. All of a sudden, you'll be starting to have major problems in terms of, well, you can have major problems about somebody having to wait too long, somebody not getting picked up, a variety of things. This will allow, I think, a much smoother, like I said, smoother, efficient and effective system. And as we continue to grow in terms of the number of rides that we're providing, I think it becomes more and more essential. So we've reached a point now, and we've got someone on the staff now, Rose, who is very competent in these areas. And I think Izzy hired her partially because of her ability to be able to handle something like this. And so I think we're in a very good position to move forward. We'll have a new bus, and we'll have a software system. We'll have, and we'll be looking to, with the retirement of Kevin, we'll be looking to hire someone to overlap. I don't want to be trying to chase somebody after he retires, so to speak. And it's not easy finding bus drivers right now. So, do you need to get a motion, or do we already get?
Yeah.
Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Okay, motion's been made and approved, and seconded. And this is for the approval of Resolution 2024-5. I'm sorry, this is for the purchase of, this is for the purchase of the Echo Lane scheduling and routing software for senior disabled transportation. So, can roll call?
Trustee Narodowski.
Aye.
Trustee Keenley.
Aye.
Trustee May.
Aye.
Trustee Perns.
Aye.
Supervisor Bussie.
Aye. Okay, 2 resolutions. First one is approval of Resolution 2024-05, resolution establishing compensation for elected officials. We have to do this in advance of each election, and that sets the compensation for the next 4 years. As you see on the resolution that Paul handed out to you here, the salaries for the supervisor as the treasurer, and the township clerk and assessor are unchanged. The trustees are moderately increased, and the reason for that is it's been over probably 12, maybe more than that, years that the dollar amount has been the same for maybe 15 years or so. And I just felt it was appropriate that for the trustees that dollar amount be modestly increased. Otherwise, all the other salaries remain unchanged.
So yeah, the assessors is the same?
Same as what her last year is. In other words, if you remember last term, her salary came down each year.
Right.
And this last year, it's at 22, and that's where it's being left at now.
So that's what, so she was 22 this year?
Yeah, she was 22 this year, and she'll be 22 for all 4 years going forward, whoever the assessor is. The supervisor's unchanged, clerk's unchanged, and trustees have been modestly increased. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
A second?
I was just wondering, can we table it till next meeting?
Pardon?
Can we table this till next meeting?
If the board wants to make a motion to table and it's approved. Can I ask why?
We can sort of figure, how am I going to say this? Think this through. Is it,
That's a
Well,
good-
let me,
basically, what I see with the assessor is kind of low. It should be even at least with the supervisor, because they do just about the same amount of work.
I don't think that's the case, but anyway, that certainly can be addressed. If the board would like to do that, we can make a motion to table, and then if the motion is to table, if it's approved, then it will be tabled to next meeting. If it's disapproved, then we'll be voting to approve or disapprove it tonight.
Okay.
So there's been a motion to table the item
Yeah.
till next meeting. If there's no second, we'll
I'll
just vote.
second. I'll second.
You'll second it? Okay. It's been moved and seconded to table the a resolution for establishing compensation for the township's elected officials for 2025 to 2029. Motion has been made to table. Motion is made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? If it passes, it will be to postpone till the next meeting. How much time do we have before it has to be set, Paul?
I'll have to look, but it's like 2 months down the road.
2 months, this has to be done by 2 months, okay. All right, if it does not pass, then we would still vote on it this evening. So, is there any other discussion? Okay, the salaries that are currently here were basically the same salaries that were established under the last term, well, they are the same as last term's compensation package, with, like I said, the exception of the trustees, which was modestly increased for the first time in about 15 years. Okay, roll call.
Trustee Narodowski,
Now, is this for approving
Any
the table?
motion to table.
Aye.
Trustee Keenley,
Aye.
Trustee May,
No.
Trustee Perns,
Aye.
Supervisor Bussey,
No.
2 to 3.
It passes 2-3, so that the resolution is tabled until
No,
the,
2 to 3. Who voted?
3 in terms of tabling, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay,
3
3
to
to
2
2.
to table.
Okay.
yeah, it's been tabled until the next meeting. Okay? All right, so that's been tabled. Now, the resolution 2024-06, policy for the Elk Grove Township to provide services under 8513 of the Township Code for GA pursuant to Public Act 103-0192. What this does is basically is the policy that we established based on the state legislation, or the state codes, that allows us to use funds from GA for other GA-related purposes. It was the legislation that allows us to, the legislation allows us to use money for the bus or for the other things to the food pantry. And the policy we put forth lists specifically those items that we will use them for. They are all acceptable under the legislation. We just didn't include some of the things that were allowed, such as library and things like that. So this is just a policy which puts into place the township procedure or authority for us to reallocate funds from the GA fund for other GA-related issues under the legislation that was passed last year. So do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, that's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? If not, roll call.
Trustee Narodowski.
Aye.
Trustee Keenley.
Aye.
Trustee May.
Aye.
Trustee Perns.
Aye.
Supervisor Bussey.
Aye. Okay, I don't think there's any other new business. Is there any discussion or comments from the trustees?
No.
No.
Okay, if there's no discussion or comments, there's no executive session, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All opposed? Okay, meeting is adjourned.